Hello everyone, my name is Saeed. I'm a PhD candidate at Middle East Technical University, and I'm going to be speaking to you about the initial part of my ongoing research study, which is aimed to visualize factors of uncertainty, complexity, and their interactions by considering vulnerability and resilience concept in public-private partnership project. This paper is aimed to develop a conceptual model to explore uncertainty and complexity in public-private partnership projects and their impacts on project performance by considering vulnerability and resilience concepts. Based on this conceptual model, visual representations can further be developed to manage complexity and uncertainty in a public-private partnership project. Nowadays, public-private partnerships are extensively used to deliver a series of public facilities and services in more than 85 countries. There are different forms of a PPP contracts around the world, and here in Turkey, BOT is the mostly used and the famous one. Public-private partnership projects, similar to other construction projects, suffer from some problematic issues, which are caused by uncertainty and complexity. The complexity theory was applied to project management in the 1990s. The significance of complexity to the project management process is extensively acknowledged afterward. What is clear is complexity is a crucial characteristic of construction projects, but there is not any widely accepted definition of the term project complexity in the construction industry. And there is also a lack of consensus on what complexity is in project management context. And therefore, sometimes the word complex is used where complicated is meant. To better understand the project complexity, project can be seen as a hierarchy of simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. In a simple project, the same action produces the same results every time, and all operations in a simple project are self-evident, predictable, and repeatable. Complicated projects can be defined as a group of simple projects, but are not merely reducible to them. On the other hand, complex systems are identified by the term of multiplicity, interdependence, and diversity. The greater the multiplicity, interdependence, and diversity, the higher the complexity. In a complex system, the same system configuration at the start allows for different results. Complexity is an attribute that makes understanding, predicting, and controlling the project challenging for project teams, even if they are well informed about the project. Another source of problematic issues in construction projects is uncertainty. There are three different points of view on how uncertainty and complexity exert an influence over each other. Some researchers consider complexity as a source of uncertainty. Another group categorizes uncertainty as a source of complexity. And the third group sees complexity and uncertainty as two independent concepts. Despite the lack of consensus on how uncertainty and complexity influence each other, there is a broad and clear consensus that both have severe repercussions on project performance. The research plan of the in-progress parent study is set up on capturing the insight gained in past PPP projects, and it consists of 4 consecutive steps. First, semi-structured interviews will be arranged with experts who are involved in PPP projects. Then, considering the collected information during the semi-structured interviews, a conceptual framework that depicts the interactions of complexity and uncertainty related concepts will be developed. Next, distinctive alternatives will be discussed and evaluated with a focus group study in order to fulfill PPP project stakeholders' visualization requirements. Finally, a computer tool will be programmed to visualize the conceptual framework. In order to lay the foundations for the semi-structured interviews and to conceptualize and organize the information obtained from experts appropriately, a model that displays the relationship between uncertainty, complexity, and project performance factors is needed. After a comprehensive literature review, the initial model has been prepared. In this model, Complexity factors can directly or indirectly influence one or more uncertainty factors. However, an uncertainty factor does not have to be a consequence of a complexity factor. Although complexity has been generally identified as one of the drivers of uncertainty, but intending to decrease the uncertainty degree of a project may increase the complexity level of the project. Therefore, a bidirectional relationship exists between complexity and uncertainty in the model. The thickness of the symbol for complexity, uncertainty, and performance factors represents their importance, whereas the thickness of arrows represents the significance of the relationship. Resilience and vulnerability also took place in this model. Resilience is a set of strategies to cope with any disturbances, and it indicates how fast a project can recover from the undesirable consequences of a specific complexity or uncertainty factor. While vulnerability means how sensitive the project is to a complexity factor. As a conclusion, the proposed model helps to conceptualize and organize information that will be collected later during semi-structured interviews. The validity of the proposed model will be further tested out during the interviews, and it will be updated in accordance. A conceptual framework will be developed by clustering the findings of the interviews on the proposed model. The validity of the conceptual framework will be tested out during a focus group study. Available visualization alternatives in the literature that can satisfy the decision maker's demand in a PPP project will be explored and discussed with participants of the focus group. And at the end, a visualization tool will be programmed to visualize the relationship between complexity and the uncertainty factors and their impact on project performance indicator, as well as their ultimate impact upon the success of PPP project, by considering resilience and vulnerability concepts. This visualization program, as the final result of the parent study, is expected to provide decision makers in PPP projects a better understanding of the dynamic behavior of the project under uncertain and complex conditions. Here is the list of references cited in this presentation. Thank you for sharing your times with me.